What's going on, guys? This is Damien from the Lookout, and yeah, Banlist happened. Let's talk about it. But before we begin, hit that like and subscribe button. We are on our way to 700 subs, and if we reach 1000 subs this year, I'm gonna give away 2 booster boxes. So let's see if we can do that. Now, roll the video. This is probably the most divisive ban list that I have ever seen. Like, some people love it, some people hate it completely. I understand like multiple arguments from both sides, and by the time that we are done with this video you will see where I stand on this ban list. I didn't really have a horse in this race, but I'm more of a upset from a design perspective and a bit concerned about the future of the game, while at the same time I understand some of these choices. Let's see what I'm talking about. Let's go over the first card. First card on the ban list, Secret ID Masked Saiyan. Reasoning is that they have banned it because it was a staple Overrealm card and to encourage more diverse Overrealm strategies and improve overall player enjoyment. What this actually reads is, guys, we have created this crappy Toba token deck and people immediately pointed out that Secret ID shuts it down completely, so we've panicked and we've banned Secret ID Masked Saiyan. So maybe our token Swarm Black deck sees some play. Well, Benda, you see, there's an issue with this. Because if you think that banning Secret ID Masked Saiyan is going to make that Toba token deck less crappy, I'm just going to point at SS4 Gogeta Twerk the Dark Empire. So now people are going to pay 1 energy to shut down the deck. So how's that for diverse Overrealm strategies? On a more serious note, let's talk about actual issues with this ban, and before I really dive into what I think is super concerning here, we will have to check one other card. But in isolation, let's say in a world where this was actually not banned because of the crappy Toba deck, but just like banned because yeah, it's a staple card, it's powerful, it's seen a lot of play. Okay, in that world I can understand, you're looking at like, okay, this card has been in here forever, let's make some more room. I'm fine with that. But to touch the actual issue, we need to first look at this other card that was banned. Next card on the list, SS4 Bardock Fighting Against Fate. Exactly the same reasoning. So it's a staple Overrealm card, it's too good, it's seeing play everywhere. Is this valid enough reasoning? Do I agree with this ban? Well, yes. Yes, I agree with, okay, I wouldn't necessarily go out and call for Bardock to get banned. But now that this has happened, what do I think of it? I think like, okay, it's fine. Because, yeah, just like Secret ID, we have this reasoning of, oh, it's a staple. I won't dive into should staples be banned. That's a Wednesday video. But do I think like, did Bardock really deserve getting banned? I don't think so. I don't think so, but at the same time, I can see it limiting design space. Because as long as like Bardock and Secret ID exist in the form that they exist now, you can either ban them or you can power creep them, and that's basically it. Like, unfortunately with Secret ID we still have a crappier replacement to deal with the crappy Toba deck, but SS4 Bardock, we're still going to find replacements. I think that like Man on a Mission is probably, it's not as good, but it's probably going to see a lot of more play now. Or maybe some other black staples. Let me know in the comments below. So, is this ban good? Not necessarily. I wouldn't personally ban it. But considering the reasoning, do I agree with this? Well, yeah. Okay. If I see a good follow-up, fine. If I see in the next set a very good follow-up to this, okay. I'm okay with it. So let's put my status on like pending for now. It's okay. Now we come to the part where King Piccolo got brutally murdered. Piano Reign of Terror banned. Reasoning is basically too much draw power, we wanted to do something and we want to free space for other red decks. Okay, that's like the TLDR reasoning. What do I think of it? Well, I agree that King Piccolo should have been hit. I agree with King Piccolo being destroyed completely. Because if you ask me, yes, King Piccolo was objectively one of the best decks in the game. Like, results speak for themselves. King Piccolo, Gogeta Xeno, those were like really a step above the rest for so long. So I'm like, okay, it's time for it to go. But dealing with King Piccolo by banning Piano, you know, I was sure that King Piccolo is going to be banned, or at least Ariata to like putting an energy cost on his effect, or like something that would make the leader completely unplayable. But is the leader playable now that Piano is banned? No, like it's essentially as if you just went ahead and banned the leader. So now I'm thinking like, why didn't you then just go and ban the leader anyway? I assume that, yeah, King Piccolo is still a beloved character to a portion of the fan base, and they didn't want to see him, you know, get banned because of that. And it's a deck that's been around forever. People like this deck, like some people really like it, and I can get behind not wanting to ban the leader, but the deck is now essentially dead. So I'm okay with them destroying King Piccolo through banning Piano, but because they didn't touch the leader himself, I hope that we will get something that would replace Piano in the future. Because otherwise you might as well just ban the leader. So hopefully they still have some plans for King Piccolo in the future that would still like make him strong, but not as strong, so that people can, you know, continue to enjoy the deck without it being too oppressive. It's a good ban, in my opinion. The next murder victim is Gogeta Xeno, and the first card was SS3 Gogeta Marvel Smite. Bandai, in their reasoning, they have acknowledged that, like, okay, this card creates a lot of advantage and it's been a staple since set 12, and we need to somehow deal with Gogeta Xeno, so let's ban Marvel Smite. Okay, I'm fine with getting rid of Gogeta Xeno. I've talked about getting rid of Gogeta Xeno somehow, and I'm okay with this. Like, I think, like I've said with King Piccolo, it really was like the second or the first, however you want to put them, best deck in the game, and maybe it's time for it to go. It's been the best black deck by default, and they didn't want to ban the leader, so they just banned this instead. I'm fine with it. I would never expect Marvel Smite to be the one to get banned. I thought that something else would get banned, but that something got limited instead. SS3 Gogeta Twerking the Dark Empire limited to 1. It is almost as if someone made a controversial video, got told to shut up, and then Bandai still went and did this anyway. But I'm not gonna gloat about this. Yes, I did say that I think that this card should be banned rather than limited to 1, simply because, unlike other limited to 1 cards, this one can get recurred over and over with Beyond All Limits. So yeah, maybe we should just ban it instead, but limiting it, okay, it's also a good option. Is this card dead? It's not dead. Gogeta Xeno is dead, but this card is still going to see play in various black decks. Pretty much all black decks that want to run SS4 Gogeta Twerking the Dark Empire are still going to run one copy of this card, because it is a great card and you already have the Union Fusion materials in it. So what do I think of this? I think it's okay. I'm okay with this. It's still gonna see play, but it's not going to be as oppressive as it once was. That's fine. Let's move on to the other limited card. Piccolo Jr, Descendant of the King, the Unison, got limited to 1. Reasoning is basically it's a staple. Red Unison, we want to encourage diversity. with, deck building. Okay, this is the only horse that I have in this race because I just bought 4 copies of it and now it's limited to 1, so I am very, I'm not very salty, I'm just a bit disappointed because I didn't expect this to happen. Yes, I mean, in retrospective, should have this card got hit? Yes. This card has been around for a very, very long time, but like I went and still bought it anyway because the reasoning was, well, man, they didn't hit it until now, they probably won't be touching it. It's okay that I was wrong. It's okay that I was wrong because this card was just so powerful. It was so good in comparison to other 2-cost red unisons that now I'm looking for replacements and I'm not finding anything. I think that putting Piccolo to limited to 1 is going to usher this era for red, where red is going to start completely moving away from 2-cost red unisons into the 3-cost red unison territory. Mostly because there aren't any real replacements for Piccolo Jr. Now, there is an argument that auto could have been made like once per turn, but it's still a pretty powerful auto. If I had a choice, I would say, yeah, I would have made it once per turn. I wouldn't have limited it, just because, like, yeah, if it wasn't oppressive so far, fine, then I guess we can just like limit it to once per turn and it's going to be okay. But there is a strong possibility that because it limits design space, just because you can keep activating his auto again and again, Bender probably wants to create more decks which are more counter heavy, like the old blue baby deck. So the Piccolo is like a big stop to something like that. And they're probably thinking like, okay, let's limit it, and then in the next series we're going to do something that is now going to have more room to breathe. I think that's okay. So limited, yeah, it kinda sucks, but at least it's not banned, and we're going to see an era where red is just playing 3-cost unisons. It's not the best solution, but I can still get behind it. Soul Striker is dead, but I'm very happy with this because I'm not a blue player and I can understand blue players being upset about it, but it opens the floodgate for more blue decks seeing play right now or seeing play in the future. So Soul Striker got Ariata so that now you can only awaken at 4 or less life. It's a huge hit because you can no longer regulate when you're going to awaken. You are now completely at the mercy of your opponent. And yeah, this is going to usher the era of we are moving away to exploring other blue options, and blue is no longer going to be, just pack filler. And I think that's fine. I've talked about this in my last ban prediction, that I want Soul Striker to be hit somehow because it limits, the amount of blue decks that are seeing play, because Soul Striker was just so generically better than anything else. So, was it now a good time to ban it? Well, to be honest, they that they really want to push Gamma 1 and 2 because of the hype for the movie and everything. I don't think that Gamma 1 and 2 are remotely good, but they really want to push them, and Soul Striker existing right now is putting a huge stop to this. Now with Soul Striker gone, are Gamma 1 and 2 going to see play? Probably not. I still don't think that they are a very good deck. They're still better decks. I mean, SS War Gogeta is the one who's probably going to replace Soul Striker. So yeah, maybe it's not the best timing to do this. Maybe start of the Zenkai series would have been better time to do this. But hey, it is what it is and I'm fine with it. If you are a blue player, I feel for you, and yeah, you will have a bit of a harder time in the upcoming meta, but this is probably, for the greater good with the upcoming sets. So I'm fine with this. And now we come to the big one. Android 17 MVP got Ariata into what's probably unplayability. And yeah, the reasoning was that they didn't predict how uninteractive this card is going to be. And they want to lower down its power level. So now instead of paying red, you're paying red, blue for his effect. And granted, you're getting Invoker for like 3 turns, your turn, your opponent's turn, and then until the end of your next turn. Yeah, that is pretty good. But this, this is concerning. Now comes the part where we talk smack about Bandai and their design team, because this raises a pretty huge red flag, and I will try to keep this as brief as possible. You cannot tell me that you designed this card and you didn't see how uninteractive and powerful it is. There's no way that you can actually tell me that you designed a card, you're like, okay, give someone Invoker for effectively 3 turns, for 1 red, for a leader. You cannot remove the leader, you cannot shut down this effect, you cannot stop it from happening, and you were like, you know what? This isn't uninteractive, man, like, this is fine. This is very concerning that this happened. Like, this is the second time that something got banned and that I was really concerned about their design and testing team. The first time was when Vegex came out and we got the Universe 3 engine banned, but Universe 3 came out like, I think it was a draft box, and it came out a month before Vegex came out, or like 2 months, which tells you like, hey, these are back-to-back products, they were probably designed back-to-back, and you couldn't see, hey, look, these cards that we are designing at the same time are broken with one another. This is the same thing with Invoker. If it were some obscure combo, if it were like this Android plus something very old or very obscure, or plus maybe some other piece, and I would be like, okay, yeah, maybe they didn't thought of it. But you cannot tell me that you didn't see that, hey man, like, this is uninteractive. No way that you couldn't have seen that. Let's suspend our disbelief and let's say like, okay, they really couldn't see this. And the card was designed like months ahead. The moment this card was spoiled, people were talking about like, dude, like, this is way too powerful. This is insanely strong. Something needs to be done. Like, okay, not necessarily something needs to be done, but people have made it extremely clear how strong this card actually was. And then people went and spent a whole bunch of money. Now, I'm from the EU. I know that I sold my copy for 35 euros, and that's around, the price that they were when they came out, except the very early ones, which were like 50 euros, which is approximately 50 bucks. I've heard that some people in the US were buying them for like $70 to up to $100. I might be wrong. Let me know in the comments below, because I don't follow US prices. But still, like, people spent a whole bunch of money and they got to play it like in one big tournament, and then it got banned. And not banned, but just like errated into non-existence basically. So here's the issue. People were talking about like, man, this is a problem. Okay, this is very uninteractive. Even if the Bandai testing team missed this, people made this clear way before this card went into circulation. And you still adamantly decided like, no, we are going to wait for the ban errata list and then we're going to hit this card. You cannot use the argument that, oh, they wanted to see, how this performs on tournament, because one deck took one tournament, 2 invokers stopped. A big American tournament. This is no reason to ban something. If that was the logic, then like King Piccolo and Gogeta Twerk would have been banned like ages ago. So no, there wasn't any like, oh, let's wait to see how this happens. I'm having a really hard time imagining that this was their thought process. What it was more likely is, hey, yeah, okay, we screwed up, we're going to apologize to people and we're going to errata it. That is fine, there's nothing wrong with, you know, apologizing and admitting your mistakes and fixing them. Actually, that's pretty commendable. But the issue is like, then you didn't, why the hell did you wait until ban and errata list if you thought that it's a problem? Why you've allowed people to waste hard-earned money on this card and then you hit it? And people made it super clear that from the very beginning there are issues with this card. And you're like, no, we're going to let it go into circulation. People are going to buy it because we want people competing on the tournament so that they can win this card, and then we're going to errata it. That's my issue with this. Not that it killed Invoker, not that it got, you know, errated so soon. It's how flawed the test and design team is, and not necessarily the design team, the test team, whoever looks at the final product and decides like, okay, this is going out, this isn't. Usually it is what is in some card games called the final design team. So let's call them final design team. Looked at this and they were like, oh, nothing wrong with this, man, but let's put it out. And yeah, this is who I have problem with. And the other problem is like, you really, if you were told and pointed out that this is an issue multiple times, why the hell did you wait for people to waste their money? You could have like immediately emergency reacted upon this and said like, hey guys, don't waste money, we're fixing this, please wait, and it would have been fine. You caused so much damage by doing this. This is my biggest pet peeve with this ban list. So those are my opinions on the ban list. Okay, so final opinion in conclusion, I think that it's not a bad ban list. It is going to shake up the metagame. It is going to allow like the crappy Towa deck to see some play. It's going to allow some other decks to see some play. It's opening the floodgates for blue. It's doing a lot to set up the future of the game. So I would be dead wrong if I said that like, you know, oh, it's not doing this. But I don't necessarily agree with all decisions and the logic behind all of the bannings. I also am a bit shocked that yellow didn't get touched at all, because yellow is currently one of the best colors in the game. Yellow has insane cards, so we will see what happens with yellow. Yeah, you can say like, okay, Universe 7 keeps it in check, but still, yellow should be taken down a notch, you know. One deck keeping it in check isn't really an argument for a color being so good. I'm completely shocked that green didn't get touched at all. I was expecting the Migra to be banned because Bandai likes kicking us in the nuts. So the Migra didn't get banned. Prepare for cooler to actually be very good, and for green to be meta relevant again. But otherwise I think that yeah, it was a solid ban list. It opens up a lot of possibilities, but some of the decisions, some of the thought processes behind the decisions are very concerning. That's it for the video. Let me know your opinions on the ban list in the comments below. I read all of your comments, I reply to everything, I love our little community. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. We are on our way to 700 subs and possibly 1000 subs when we're gonna have a giveaway of 2 booster boxes if we hit it this year. So this has been Damien from The Lookout, and I will see all of you in the next video.